Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Good. I have on my notes, it says Monday, September 24th.
No.
That's not quite right. It's Monday, November 14th. I have no idea what the heck I did when I was copying this stuff. Apparently,
Or you've got a story from that date. And
I
you're
don't
gonna
think so.
Say it again.
Probably. That's probably what it is. Hey, there are hundreds. Oh, first of all, we should talk about who our guest is going to be on this September 14th. Okay, no, on the 14th of November, Dr. Jenn Mann. She has a book called The Relationship Fix. You might actually have seen her on her program on VH1. Going to be visiting with, the one and only Dr. Jenn Mann on the program today. There are hundreds of 1,000-year-old underground tunnel systems in Bavaria. Nobody knows who built them or what they're even for.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
I'd like to see those.
That'd be kind of cool. Be like a giant ant farm for humans. Kind of. If you take vitamins every day, you're not alone. 2 out of 3 adults take vitamin supplements every day. What do you think are the most popular vitamins? Wrong.
Multivitamins.
Popular vitamins are vitamin C, followed by B6 and E. I think we got a bingo. All right. Coming up, we're going to talk about what's happening on this Monday that's on the way.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It's Monday. It is November the 14th. Today is International Girls' Day and International Selfie Day. Coincidence? I think not.
Probably not.
It is also Loosen Up, Lighten Up Day. I agree with that one completely. National American Teddy Bear Day. National Spicy Guacamole Day. National Pickle Day. Hey, we just talked about the fact that Americans eat a lot of pickles. Operating Room Nurse Day. Spirit of National Speakers Association Day. World Diabetes Day. And World Orphans Day. A lot of stuff going on.
A lot of stuff
I'm
going
going to celebrate by having a pickle. You can have some guacamole. I'd let you have a pickle, but
I'm not a fan of guacamole.
Well, I'm
so
not either. So
I don't really want to celebrate that.
You
one
celebrate
either.
that? I'm not sharing my pickles with you. Okay, I'll loosen up and lighten up because that's going on today too. And we'll have to take a selfie and throw it on Facebook. Can you do that with me?
Sure.
All right, we'll do a selfie and we'll throw that at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Would you like to lose weight? You could wait till New Year's to make a resolution, but most people that do that are done with them in a few weeks. No, they don't hit their goal. They just give up. If you struggle to keep your weight where you'd like it, maybe you should consider hypnosis. Many people have amazing results with hypnosis, and it's not as expensive as you think. We have a special weight loss hypnosis program for just $60 at radiosavings.com. Hypnosis can help reduce the cravings that cause you to overeat. Learn more about this special hypnosis weight loss system from Extreme Power Hypnosis at radiosavings.com.
John and Heidi.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. A thief in South Korea turned himself in after his victim convinced him the error of his ways by reading to him from the Bible.
Oh, cool.
Ling Cho walked into an English language institute in, I'm not even going to try, somewhere there in South Korea.
Somewhere.
In South Korea, we'll say that. Demanded money at knife point from the lone teacher, according to Metro. That's the story that we're reading here. The teacher asked him, "Why are you robbing me?" and listened as he explained how he fell into a life of crime after he was divorced and left in poverty. The teacher then read to him from the Bible, and Cho apologized for trying to rob her. The teacher then gave him an MP3 player filled with gospel tunes, and he left. But he returned 20 minutes later in tears and asked the teacher to report him to the police. After she refused to turn him in, the thief called the authorities himself and demanded to be arrested. He now faces 5 years in jail for his attempted robbery.
Huh.
That is just crazy. So I wonder if it was, do you think he did that because he wanted a place to stay? Or did he do it because he felt bad and said, hey, I need to change my ways? Or what do you think happened there?
I think he felt bad after being talked to by her,
Yeah.
so he decided to change his ways. I think that's a cool story.
Whatever the story is, I think it is. Yeah, it's interesting, and it is cool that it happened that way. We had a story not too long ago about a young man that robbed a lady, and when he yanked her purse away, she fell down, and he felt bad. He came back and helped her back up, and then gave the purse back to her. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember
And then
that.
she said that, you just don't find nice muggers like
nice
that these
muggers.
days.
You never see any nice muggers anymore.
It's been so long since we've had nice muggers like that on the streets. It's just crazy. Anyway, this one's in South Korea, and it's true because you heard it on the radio.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
and this is your brain on drugs. A woman calls 911 to report a drunk driver. Guess who the driver was? Her.
Oh, really?
Call came into a 911 dispatcher. She said, I don't want to hurt anybody. I'm drunk. And with that, Mary Stray, 49, of Granton, Wisconsin, reported herself as a drunk driver.
Wow.
Sheriff Deputy Jim Backus said that Stray's call on October 24th led deputies to cite her for misdemeanor drunk driving with blood alcohol level double the legal limit to drive. She will make her first court appearance on December the 10th. I wonder if the fact that she turned herself in is going to help on the, give her some leniency.
I would assume that it's definitely going to weigh into her sentence, I would assume.
I think it was cool that she did that, but what would have been even cooler? To not drive.
To not drive at all.
I mean, if you are going out to celebrate, don't drive. Have a designated driver. In our family, we make it easy. I'm the designated driver.
I'm the designated drinker.
We got a good little plan right
We
there.
do. I love that plan.
Always works out. And every once in a blue moon, I'll be the one that's a designated drinker. And then everybody's like, is everything okay? Like, you never drink. Heidi's not drinking? I'm like, hey, it's because she still has a hangover from last night. It's not like she's a saint or anything. All right. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Now your moment of duh. Take a listen to this. With heightened security at airports, along with heightened fear of people with weapons at airports, what would make somebody want to enter an airport with a rifle? Hunting season. That's what it was. A man on his way out of town to go elk hunting walked into the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport in Texas with a rifle. A clerk asked him if the gun was loaded. The man said no, and then decided to prove it to the clerk and pulled the trigger. Guess what? It was loaded. And it went off in the airport.
Oh, my God.
Miraculously, no charges were filed. Nobody was hurt. The man was even allowed to board on... he was able to get on an airplane and fly. Now, the gun, of course, was not in with him. It was in the overhead compartment.
No, it wasn't. Kidding. You have to check it. If you're going hunting, you can take your weapons onto a plane, but they are checked luggage.
You can't put it in the overhead?
Not in the overhead.
Oh, thanks, Bin Laden. All right, coming up, we have your scoop of the day. That is on the way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now your scoop of the day. Just a moment ago, we were talking about traveling and airports, and I got another story right here from Travelocity. They did a survey. They say that smelly passengers, coughing passengers, and large-sized passengers are amongst the worst people to sit next to in the air. So what happens if you have a large, coughing, smelly passenger? Well, you would have like the triple whammy.
Didn't we just read, though, some guy trying to say that it's perfectly okay to pass gas on an airplane?
Oh, yeah, that's a whole different story.
So that would be a smelly passenger.
Yeah, I don't know. Playing Tetris right after a traumatic experience has been proven to help wipe bad memories and prevent flashbacks, Heidi.
Really?
Yeah, so if you play Tetris, I guess that helps. I don't know why. That is a bizarre thing to learn. 71% of Glamour magazine readers say celebrities should not be able to run for political office. So then you would have to decide how you define if they're a celebrity, because there are even politicians who are well-known.
That's kind of a tough call there.
Hey, recent study found that watching TV burns 93 calories an hour. So I got an idea. What if you had like 3 or 4 TVs? Wouldn't that burn more calories? It'd be like going for a run around the block, I think. I don't know. Maybe not. Hey, guys, Movember is here. No, I didn't say November wrong. I said Movember. Big campaign for the sprouting of mustaches on thousands of men's faces. With their mows, the men raise awareness and funds for men's health issues, specifically prostate and testicular cancer initiatives. Our neighbor has a mustache.
Yes, he does.
Charlie, if you're listening, Heidi said you looked wonderful.
not really what I said.
That's not what you said,
And
but I
that's not
won't
what
say.
I said to him either.
It's not polite to say what you said, so just going to say. I haven't seen it, Charlie, but I'm sure you look fine. Hey, Samsung took out full-page ads in major newspapers around the U.S. to apologize about their Galaxy Note 7s bursting into flame. And it's pretty fitting because if your phone burst into flame, you're probably stuck reading the newspaper. I'm like, I got nothing else to do now. A Brazilian man said he's addicted to funerals. Yeah. He has attended every single funeral in his town for the last 20 years. He just recently quit his job so he could get to more funerals.
That is so bizarre.
He said his father's death set off this addiction. So when his father died, he went to the funeral, and then he's gone to funerals.
Like, this is kind
ever
of fun.
since.
I think I'll keep going to these.
I was like, the eulogy last week was better. These sandwiches suck. Should have had what they had last week at Joan's wedding, funeral, whatever. That joke didn't work because I was confused. Hey, South Park, speaking of things not working, they had to rewrite the end of their most recent episode because they had written... Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
I haven't. They miscalled their
They called it
results?
for Clinton, so they had the episode completely done, and when Clinton didn't win, they had to rewrite. So Wednesday's episode was originally supposed to feature the storyline that the episode says it was scheduled prior to Tuesday night's turn of events, was titled The Very First Gentleman. It was set to cover the election results. The episode had to be reworked with the title Oh Geez. So if you see it, you can realize, you can watch it and say, oh wow, they threw this together in like a day. So I've only seen a few episodes of South Park, and the ones that I've seen, very controversial, but there's some funny stuff.
There are some really funny
But
ones.
I don't think I would ever admit that I'm like, oh, I love South Park.
I don't love South Park, but
but
I've
there's some that
seen there are a couple.
There was an
that I've
election one
seen.
that was actually kind of
Yes.
funny, so we won't mention any more other than it was funny. Hey, dragon sausage, what kind of meat do you think that is?
I have no idea.
Welsh dragon sausage has to put on their label now that it's not made of dragon.
from real dragons.
They have to put pork on their label because there's somebody that thought they were eating real dragons, apparently. So
Wow.
There you go. Good news. We're not the only idiots in the world, so there's others out there. Makes us feel a little more at home. Coming up, we've got some fun facts, and we've got a guest. We've got Dr. Jenn Mann with a relationship fix on the way.
John and Heidi.
We just wrapped up one of the most contentious elections in the history of our nation. Some are excited about the outcome, others not so excited. We want to remind you that we're still one nation, under God, indivisible. We've made it through many things, and we'll make it through this too. Let's do it together. At PoliticalStorm.com, we've been covering this election from both sides, and we want to thank the many contributors that have helped make that possible. We also invite you to become a contributor too with a free blog. Let's share all of the reasons to come together and unify as a nation. Share your voice at PoliticalStorm.com.
John and Heidi.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Got a special guest joining us right now. For those of you who've watched the TV show on VH1, Couples Therapy with Dr. Jenn, that's who we're talking to today, is Dr. Jenn Mann. She's got a new book out called The Relationship Fix. Dr. Jenn Mann joining us now. How are you doing, Dr. Jenn?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Very good. It's exciting to visit with you. I love the program. It's a great program. And also this book, I've got a copy of it here. What an awesome book. This is cool.
It was really a multi-year labor of love and research, and I'm thrilled for people to get exposed to all the research I got exposed to.
Well, and the thing that's kind of fun about this particular program is my wife and I do this show together. So we live together, we work together, we're on the radio together. And the funny thing is, the one thing we don't do together is the interviews. She's like, I don't want to do the interviews, you do the interviews. But
that's funny. I have parents who are songwriters, Barry Mann and Cynthia Wilde, who have won a number of Grammys together, and their life is profiled in a show called Beautiful.
Yeah.
And they have worked together for over 50 years. They've been married over 50 years, worked together. My mom writes the lyrics, and my dad writes the music. So I know the dynamics of couples who work together quite well.
Well, and there are times that I think she wants to claw my eyes out, but we somehow make it through.
Personally, with my parents.
Well, now let's talk about, there are some myths about what makes a good relationship and what makes a bad relationship. Let's debunk some of that right now. Inform everybody and educate us on what it really takes.
Well, I think probably one of the biggest myths is about fighting. that a lot of people think, oh, if couples fight, then there's something terribly wrong with their relationship. But I tend to not really trust couples who don't fight. I tend to think that someone's not expressing themselves honestly, and that someone is, if they're not fighting or having any conflict, that people are just not as invested. When we are invested and we're honest about our opinions, we're going to have different opinions. And while it may not be an all-out brawl, we're going to have disagreements and we're going to have conflict. A study in England of 3,000 couples found that the average couple fights 312 times a year.
Wow.
But really the difference is how you fight. 93% of couples who fight dirty will be divorced in 10 years. That was a University of Utah study.
Yeah, you don't want to fight dirty.
Exactly, but what I found is that two things really matter. One is the ratio of positive to negative interactions. There's a researcher named John Gottman who says it doesn't matter how often couples fight. They can fight constantly. They can fight not that much. But what matters is that the ratio is 1 to 5 of positive to negative interactions, and that's what will predict whether a couple gets divorced or not. The second thing is how you fight. That when you fight, when you are critical, when you have contempt, when you are defensive, when you are stonewalling, your relationship is doomed. So I think that that's probably one of the biggest myths that people have about relationships.
Visiting right now with Dr. Jenn Mann. She is the host of VH1's Couples Therapy with Dr. Jenn, and she's the author of a new book called The Relationship Fix. Now, this book is available right now, so people that want to get it can go out and get a copy of it. Who would you say is the ideal person to read this? Somebody that's married and having problems, or somebody that's not really having problems and wants to avoid them?
Well, first of all, married or not married, really, it doesn't matter. If you want to have a healthy relationship, this book is for you. I've had a lot of singles who have read this book and are posting, tweeting, reaching out to me saying, oh my God, this book has totally changed the way I look at relationships. I feel more prepared to have it. But I do think kind of the ideal reader is someone who's in a relationship anywhere from, yeah, my relationship's okay, but I think it could be better, to we're on the verge of divorce.
So kind of anywhere in between there.
Exactly. Anyone who wants to have a healthy relationship. That's my demo.
Now, you were talking about the fact that, it's not bad to have fights, but you want to make sure you do them right. What can people do if you're going to have arguments? How can we fight better if that's a thing?
Well, it's a great question. And knowing how to fight fairly and knowing how to fight better is key. And I have a few tips. The first is how you start an argument. 96% of the time, the way you begin it is the way it will end. So start with a softer kind of tone, softer words. You can say the same thing in a lot of different ways, but that soft startup makes a big difference. The other thing is use reflective listening. We're so busy thinking about our rebuttal and what we're going to say that a lot of the time we're not really listening and paying attention. Listen carefully. Repeat back to your partner what they're saying in your own words. It shows you're listening, you're paying attention, and you care. The third is take a time out. When things get heated, at a certain point, it's no longer productive. Talk about it in advance. Hey, when things get really heated in our discussions, we're going to take a time out. I'm not abandoning you. I'm not abandoning the relationship. And when you hit that point, say it calmly as best as you can. Hey, I think I'm too worked up for this to be productive. I'm going to take 20 minutes. Let's meet back in the kitchen. Or, I think we both really need to sleep on it. Let's talk about it in the morning. Make sure there's an end date to when you're going to talk about it again so it doesn't feel like it's being left on the table and not discussed. The other thing is let your partner influence you. A study by John Gottman found that when men do not let women influence them, 81% of the time the marriage will not last. The other thing is what I call the sandwich technique. When you're having conflict and you're trying to express yourself or deliver something that is a change you want made or something you're upset about, use the sandwich technique. Start with the positive, then share what you need to share, and end with the positive. It makes a really big difference. And last but not least, keep your side of the street clean. Focus on yourself, where you could do better instead of pointing the fingers.
I like that sandwich technique, and you could do that while eating a sandwich, too.
Yes, you can, and then you won't be hungry or cranky.
There you go. Well, Dr. Jenn, thank you for taking time to chat with us. I really appreciate it. I know you've got other interviews to get to, so I can't hog you for much longer, but if people would like to learn more about you and find your book, is there a website they can go to learn more about Dr. Jenn Mann?
Yes, drjenn.com, but spelled out DOCTOR. JORJENN, but also social media. I'm very active on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat, and that's at Dr. Jenn Mann. 2 N's on Jen, 2 N's on Man.
Well, thanks for doing what you're doing. You're helping couples all over the country, and we need all the help we can get.
Thank you.
Again, Dr. Jenn Mann has been our guest. She's got a new book called The Relationship Fix. It's available right now. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Are you ready for Duel? Kyle Dowling on guitar, Brett Gunderson on bass, Sam DeVito on drums, and frontman Duel Shape.
Gotta keep rocking, gotta keep sucking, bringing it down like rain.
Duel's new single just hit iTunes and it's selling fast. Get your copy now.
You're locked in chains and you feel no pain. Supernova gonna get you too.
Their first single, Supernova, is available now for less than $1. Learn more and find a direct link to buy Supernova at facebook.com/DuelRocks.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
A man in New Jersey owns the brain of Albert Einstein.
Really?
Yeah, scientist John Harvey owns it. He's a pathologist, and he decided to purchase the remains and the brain of Albert Einstein. I have no idea why.
Well, there you go.
Hey, fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Many parts of a tree can die without killing the whole tree. In fact, much of a normal healthy tree is dead. The wood in the center, for example, is dead. So there's parts of the trees all around us that are dead, and there's other parts that are still alive.
Huh.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The same little person who played Cousin It on the Addams Family TV show also played several Ewoks in the movie Return of the Jedi.
Really?
Yeah. The guy's name is
loved Cousin It.
I did too. Felix Silla, by the way, was the gentleman's name. And our final fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Julio Iglesias.
Yes.
Before he became a music star, what do you think he did for a living?
Sold shoes.
No, he was an attorney.
Really?
Yeah. Julio Iglesias was a lawyer before he became a crooner. So now you know. A couple of fun facts for you on a Monday.
John and Heidi.
This is the world's first and only 7-time lottery game grand prize winner. Since I endorsed Lottolicious, I have won something every single draw. When you join, you'll be giving them the set of numbers that you want them to play, and that's what they will play for you. You don't have to worry about running to the store to buy your tickets. They take care of all that. So if you're looking for the best way to play the lottery, go to RadioLottoPool.com and join today. Again, that's RadioLottoPool.com.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. Ladies, if you get mad at him, you stop talking to him to punish him, right? With the, what's it called? The silent treatment? You ever do that to me?
Sometimes, yes.
You've done that on this program before.
Yes, I have.
There have been times where people had to call and are like, is Heidi even there today? I'm like, yeah, she's here. She's just mad at me. That's all. I don't know what I did. She said something about not listening. I don't know what it was. Well, either as the instigator or as the receiver, you're not alone on the whole silent treatment thing. It's the most common pattern of conflict relationship. We talked earlier with Dr. Jenn Mann, the relationship fix. I should have asked her about this. It causes a lot of damage, this whole silence treatment. Silence may be golden, but silent treatment can ruin relationships, according to Dr. Paul Schrod, communication studies at Texas Christian University in Fort Worth. He arrived at this conclusion after learning that a team in the meta-analysis of 74 studies concluded more than 14,000 participants, by the way, were involved. They showed that couples who engaged in the demand-withdrawn pattern, which is silent treatment, experienced lower relationship satisfaction, less intimacy, and poorer communication. And the damage can be done not only emotionally with feelings of anxiety and aggression, but also physically with things like symptoms of urinary and bowel issues.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. The takeaway, start talking through your problems instead of, maintaining a long silence with a silent treatment. So you're supposed to hug it out and talk it out, make it all better. Does that sound good?
There you go. That sounds awesome.
We're going to come back to this in a bit because we've got another thing that we're going to talk about that has something to do with that. That's on the way. Thanks for listening, by the way, to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday.
John and Heidi.
When is the last time you changed the air filter on your furnace? Now, don't be embarrassed. That happens to a bunch of us. The furnace filter should be changed often. This will help your heating and cooling system run more efficiently, and it'll even extend the life of your system. Now, there's an easy way to make it happen.
Filter Easy, a new subscription service that delivers your size filter right to your door on the schedule you choose. It's easy. Filter Easy. One less thing to worry about. Learn about a special offer available now at radiosavings.com.
John and Heidi.
Okay, take a listen to what happened at a school faculty party recently. David Cummings was just having fun. He jokingly smashed... Are you ready for this?
Sure.
Jokingly smashed a piece of cake in the face of the principal at the school. It was supposed to be just good, clean fun, but it ended up getting him fired. Yeah. Witnesses say Pomeroy Elementary School Principal Pat Kordalski seemed to enjoy the little prank at the time. He laughed. But later wanted to fire Cummings for smashing cake in her face. Oh, it wasn't even a he, it was a she. So Pat, I'm sorry. In the end, David Cummings was one of the school's most popular teachers and was transferred to another school rather than being fired. So, as it turns out, he didn't get fired, but he got transferred over smashing cake in the principal's face.
You know, though, I would be pretty upset
I would too,
if somebody did that to me.
And here's the thing. It all depends on how
it
done.
It was done. Like if it was at a pep rally or something and it was all in good fun, that's
But it should have been
different,
pre-planned.
Right.
Anything like that should be pre-planned.
Right.
Just
Absolutely.
saying. All right. Coming up, we're going to talk about, I don't know, we're going to talk about grocery store and aging. I don't know. I have no clue. I should pre-read this stuff. We have that one on the way.
John and Heidi.
A little bit ago, I was telling you about aging at the grocery store, and here's the story. That was a pretty awful headline, by the way. I did read it now, and it made a little bit of sense. Sometimes aging food is a good thing, right?
Okay.
One grocer's in trouble for aging things maybe a little too much, like 14 years after the expiration date. Yeah. This happened in Belgium. A judge fined a grocer there 950 pounds or lira or whatever they use for, it's got like the little L with a line through it number thingy in front of it. Anyway, they imposed a suspended prison sentence for selling food that was 14 years out of date.
Holy cow.
Health officials were notified about the store after customers complained of getting sick from food, some of which was sold from 14 years ago.
Holy cow.
The sell-by labels were on there, but they scratched them off or put the sticker for the price over the top of them or replaced them with a more recent date. 14 years out of date, and people were getting sick. So, yeah, that's not good. Coming up, we're going to talk about...
And you think I eat stuff past the expiration date.
You got nothing on that guy. Coming up, we're going to talk about Thanksgiving dinner. It's on the way.
John and Heidi.
We just wrapped up one of the most contentious elections in the history of our nation. Some are excited about the outcome, others not so excited. We want to remind you that we're still one nation, under God, indivisible. We've made it through many things, and we'll make it through this too. Let's do it together. At PoliticalStorm.com, we've been covering this election from both sides, and we want to thank the many contributors that have helped make that possible. We also invite you to become a contributor too with a free blog. Let's share all of the reasons to come together and unify as a nation. Share your voice at PoliticalStorm.com.
John and Heidi.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Thanksgiving is going to be here pretty darn soon. Let's see. I got to look at my calendar because today is the 14th, so it's next Thursday.
Is it really?
Yeah, the 24th. How did that happen?
Holy cow.
Next Thursday. I demand a recount.
This whole year is
how did that happen?
I know.
Well, if you're planning your Thanksgiving dinner, here's something to keep in mind. If you're concerned about gaining weight, you can dramatically cut your calorie consumption by serving foods from the kitchen counter, not the table. Quite simply, the case out of sight, out of mind, according to Professor Brian Wanzink. He says, when we keep the serving dishes off the table, people eat 20% fewer calories. Men ate close to 29% less. You can use the same strategy to eat healthier every day. It doesn't have to be on Thanksgiving, but all the time. Simply keep fruits and veggies in plain sight and hide candy, cake, and cookies. So when you have food right at the table, you tend to eat more. When you have to walk across the room to get it,
that.
I noticed that too, because like when we go to a buffet, if I'm sitting at the table and walking over to get it, I eat way less than if I just slide my chair right over to the buffet. I've never really done that, although I would like to try that sometime.
I'd like to see somebody do that.
Slide my chair right over there. Didn't they do that on the Jokers, Impractical Jokers?
I don't remember.
I think they did. It was like on a sushi restaurant. He slid his chair right over to the I'm almost positive.
Oh, yeah. I think you did. I
I'm
think
pretty
you're
sure.
right.
I love those guys. They are
Me
so funny.
too.
The Impractical Jokers. If you've never seen that, by the way, it's on True TV.
Yes.
And it is truly funny. And we've had a chance to meet those guys, and they are very nice guys. Coming up here in a bit, we've got some good news. That is on the way, and we're going to kind of pick up the conversation we had earlier about the whole silent treatment thing. We're going to come back to that because that's what this next thing has to do with for our good news. It's all on the way on The John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This portion of The John and Heidi Show is brought to you by The John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying The John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
Earlier in the program, we talked about the silent treatment. And at the time, we were talking about how bad that is, right?
Yes.
But what if it could be good?
Okay.
Okay. For our good news, that's what we're going to talk about. Can you stay silent for 48 hours?
I think I probably could. You could not. There is no way you could do that.
I couldn't for 48 seconds.
No.
48 hours without Facebook, without Instagram, without Twitter, Snapchat, WhatsApp, Spotify, or anything else you do online. Open Doors Youth is encouraging you to do just that. November 18th through the 20th, which is coming up this weekend. Yeah, this Friday through this Sunday. The goal is to bring people to the Middle East by joining the Blackout and getting sponsored to give up all things digital for a weekend. So it's not like you don't get to talk. You just don't do anything digital all weekend. I could do that.
Well,
in doing so, you can make a massive...
I don't know if you could do that either.
I could. I absolutely could. In doing so, you can make a massive noise before God by dedicating the time to pray for silence and hidden Christians in Iraq and Syria, even raising money to support those who share your faith but not your freedom. All of the details, and again, this is from Open Doors Youth, all the details at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. So don't give up Facebook yet. You got to go there first. So. But I could give it up. I could absolutely give it up. Should we do it for that weekend?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So,
it's a good thing.
That's coming up the 18th through the 20th. So that's this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So, man, we're gonna have to plan around this one.
Now you're second guessing yourself.
No, I'm just making sure because I'm wondering if I could just post the thing on there because I post things usually on the weekends. But we'll just say that hey, we're not posting anything because we're doing this thing. So I'm planning for it.
Alrighty.
You have to remind me or I'll forget about it.
I'll remind you.
All right. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. And if you want to join us on that, all the details on our Facebook page, the same one we're going to ignore this coming weekend. So thank you for listening to The John and Heidi Show.